Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 6 of Rise and Shine. Maddie, who do we got?
All the way from Watertown, South Dakota, the newest president of Esco, Stuart Stein.
Brian, roll the intro, bro.
Roll it!
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rise and Signs. As always, I'm Joe. This guy is
Matthew.
Welcome to episode 6. Can I count?
Episode 6. This is episode 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can still count the 6 too, eh? Congratulations again. Another big day, Joe. It's a Friday morning. I love starting my Friday like this. Gives me a little bit of energy to get through the day, gets me motivated. So I'm excited for another episode.
Any positive things throughout the week you've experienced?
Getting back into it. Back to the hustle, back to the grind. Things are like last week, things started to move. Things are moving even quicker now. So I'm just excited to be getting back to work, getting back into the routine of hustling, making some money, making some sales, and getting rejuvenated about the sign industry again. Yourself?
Yeah, man. I tell you what, it's the phone's been buzzing up a little bit. You know, out in Ohio, we still have the stay-at-home order in place, but they've loosened up on manufacturing and things. So a lot of sign companies have started to get back to work in the local area. So it's really, really good stuff, man. It's starting to seem like, you know, we don't know what things are going to turn out like, right? As everybody start loosening up. But the good thing is I think people are starting to be more positive and not being so caught up in the emotion of things, which I really appreciate. Keeping a calm status quo, which I love.
I totally agree. It's all in the mind state. We gotta get out of these houses. We got to be positive about this and just put our best foot forward. All
right. So let's jump right in. We have a key player at a wholesale manufacturer here in the U.S. Matt, do your thing with intros, my friend.
Joe, thank you. As usual, this has become a little part of our podcast. So let's get this started. Our next guest, luckily for us, this is yet another ISA Elite Class member. This next guest took place in the ISA Elite Class in 2019. He is also on the ISA Elite Steering Committee as a member for ISA. Our next guest has Nordic pride in his blood. He is a fan of Ole the Viking, a graduate at the Augustana University. This next guy is a big fan of golf, and on his off time, you can catch up with him on the links. He takes great pride in being a family man. In 1965, this company was founded by his grandfather, Clint Stein. They produce signs for retail companies across the States and internationally. I want to welcome the newest president of Esco from Watertown, South Dakota, the ever so talented Stewart Stein. Stewart.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Episode 6 of Rise and Signs.
I made it to the second hand.
Yes, that's big. That's big. The Jordan, 6 championships.
Stu, excited to have you on the show here. Thanks for making the time. I learned something in Matt's intro today that you have Nordic pride. So we've got a small connection here. My eldest son's name is, you guessed it, Thor.
No way, Joe. I didn't know that.
You gotta, well, listen, you've been too busy interviewing everybody else and not interviewing me.
True.
So Stu, welcome to the show, my friend. You know what? I've done a little bit of research on your facility, and it sounds like a huge connection family-wise. Another young person that's in the sign family, as Matt says. Give us a quick summary of your connection, the family history, and how you've ended up where you're at.
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, I am a graduate of Augustana University back in 2005, I think it was already. It's dating myself, but yeah. So I went to school for business at Augustana University, and at the time didn't really know what I wanted to do. In fact, at the time, I felt actually a passion for music and was interested in possibly opening up a music store. But
Oh, wow.
as fate may have it, kind of twisted and turned, I just opted to go a different route. And all throughout college, knowing back at home that we have this family business, I knew that that was always an option to come back home to the family business. But truth be told, it was actually my dad that really encouraged and pushed me to not come and work at the family business. He actually encouraged me to go out and get my own real world experience at other businesses to try to find out
Wow.
what I liked, what I didn't like, and if fate would have it that I had interest to come back to the family business at some point in time. Hopefully, it would still be around and kicking, and that was always an option down the road. But he really encouraged me just to go out, do my own thing, try to build my own resume, so to speak, and get some of my own experience. And so, right after college, I went to work for Wells Fargo, and I wore a tie to work on my first day of Wells Fargo, where not many other people wore a tie at the place that I worked, and I happened to catch the eye of my future wife. Actually, she still reminds me of that story. Wearing a tie to work on the very first day of work. So we met at Wells Fargo, my wife and I. We ended up dating for a little while and then eventually got married. So I have to thank Wells Fargo for bringing my wife Crystal and I together.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you guys went away from the chapel, were you on that classic Wells Fargo carriage going away from the chapel as you got married?
Yeah, with the stagecoach and everything.
I love it.
Love it. That's unreal. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there's more history behind Esco. It started as a company prior?
Yeah, so actually, Clint Stein started Highway Sign Company in 1952, which was a retail sign company, and that name eventually changed to Stein Sign Display, what it is today. But 13 years later, in 1965, that's when Esco started, and Esco was really formed on an idea that my grandfather had called with a machine called the roll former, and the roll former would allow the ability to put steel into the machine and then form the steel into what he called a uniframe. So it was just a bent steel into a rectangular type frame, and it was sold as essentially like a knockdown kit. And so he would travel and sell these knockdown kits to other sign companies, and that's really what founded Esco. And the roll former product and the roll former product was actually used for many years, but probably 10, 15 years ago, we took the roll former out of commission. And so it's just kind of interesting that the product that Esco was founded on, this roll formed steel cabinet, is actually no longer even offered or used today in our business. And so we've just grown and adapted to the market changes, and interesting how that all plays out.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
I love that you've got so much history involved. You know, you don't hear a lot about roll formers in a lot of situations. So you guys are in wholesale. So from when you said your grandfather started that, right?
Right.
So when your grandfather started those knockdown kits, as time moved on, were you essentially continuously a wholesaler up until this point now?
Right. We've had, it's been a really unique relationship where we've had Stein Sign Display, been in business since 1952, and then we've had Esco since 1965. So we've had a retail company and a wholesale company all under the same family ownership for all these years. And so we, as a company, we have had to be mindful of that, because we have customers that are customers of Esco on our wholesale side that could be considered competitors of our Stein Sign Display business. But we've been able to toe that line very strictly internally, and everybody understands that there's a fine line between those two business segments, and we retain the confidentiality and respect all sides of the working arrangement. And so fortunately, we've been able to have the two businesses coexist side by side for all these years.
Yeah, it's a really sensitive thing on both sides of the equation, as I think you kind of leaned into a little bit. Some sign companies are hesitant to acquire, wholesale products from somebody who also manufactures retail, because you see them as competition, but they also see you as kind of like competition. And so it's a testament that you've done it for so long successfully, having wholesale and retail, because I know wholesale is getting more popular right now. So a lot of sign companies who think, I'd rather not deal with all the permitting and the paperwork and I want to supplement with wholesale. And it's not easy. You got to build that level of trust within the clientele so that you can actually make that business flow.
The part that I would even just go one step further on is with our retail business, Stein Sign Display. It's very localized and regionalized. It's not a national sign company by any means. So I think that has helped to some degree. And the stance that Mark, my father, instilled in me, and I carry the same belief, is that when push comes to shove, if we ever have a conflict where we're going to be competing directly with one of our Esco customers and we know it, we've always tried to take the stance that we're just going to back off, because it's just not worth damaging the relationship for a continuous long-term customer for Esco over one particular sale on the retail side. So I think that has also helped.
Beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. I know a lot of us, I'm going to give you the opportunity. I know a lot of us have been stuck inside doing quarantining and stuff like that for COVID. Things are starting to move. People are starting to go outdoors. Have you got the chance to go outdoors anytime soon?
I have. In fact, as you mentioned in the intro, I'm a big golfer. And so It was exciting because we actually had a nice spring this year. Last year, I think my first round of golf was literally like May 5th of last year. This year, I've already got a couple rounds in. And so I was golfing a couple of weeks ago with my dad, and here we come to hole number 17. It's a par 3, 161 yards. And, I hit this beautiful shot, and it's right on the flag the whole way. And my dad makes the comment, he goes, that's all over it. And sure enough, it was. The ball came down, and it literally, and I've got a prop, literally hit right here, right at the bottom of the cup and the flag. And then you can see there's this little blue spot in here. And so due to COVID, they've got these foam protectors inside the cup that are just used to basically, minimize any germ activity in there. So the ball just rests on the foam. Well, from the tee box, the ball hit at the base of the cup and the flag, hit the foam, bounced out of the cup, and went like 20 feet away. So, I've never had a hole-in-one before, and I'm feeling kind of gypped.
No way. No way. So what would you call that if it's not a hole-in-one?
Yeah. So as I posted this to my social media, people were going back and forth whether it was a hole-in-one or whether it wasn't, and someone came up with a great suggestion. And so the next time someone asks me if I have a hole-in-one or not, I'm going to tell them that I have a COVID one.
A COVID one. Hey, there you go. There you go. Big fan of that.
I think you have to. I mean, that's, it's a shame you guys didn't have a caddy out there watching all that, just ready to pull the foam and everything. Also, I mean, I guess no one's expecting to get a hole-in-one, right? So
yeah, well, they're tough enough the way it's tough enough to get a hole-in-one the way it is. To have the foam in there only makes it harder. But get this. So a story came out about Jordan Spieth. He's a professional golfer. A story came out about Jordan Spieth. He did the exact same thing that I did, and he's counting it as a hole-in-one, just so you know.
So if I were you, I'd count it as a hole-in-one then.
I think on a personal level, you consider it a hole-in-one and you have a face-to-face conversation and tell the story. But, the unruly world of social media, they always want to cause dissent and disagree. So I think you personally call it one. You don't advertise it. you talk about it one-on-one like this. So if anybody has any comments trying to discredit Stu's hole-in-one, we're going to delete them, just so you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, Stu, just to stay on topic, obviously it's huge news that you're the newest president of Esco. What is that transition like? How hard is it? What have you had to do in order to take over a company and assert yourself as a president? How is that? Take us through that journey. What's that all about?
Well, so after, so Mark was the second generation owner. My father, Mark Stein, was the second generation owner, and he had worked with the company for 40 years and decided to retire on 2/4/20. That was his 40th year anniversary, and he decided that date would be a good day to officially set the retirement. And so I've been officially the owner of Esco. I've got a countdown on my phone that started a year or so ago, counting down the days until 2/4. Now it's counting up how many days I've actually been the owner, and I think it's on like day 87 or something like that.
God bless.
So all that being said, here I am, the third generation owner, trying to come in and establish myself, like you said. And one of the things that I was planning for months was a meeting. And this meeting was to establish myself, what my vision was going to look like for the company, and to hopefully set the stage of what the expectations were going to look like with the new guy in town, right? And so the date that I selected was 2/20/20. And I'll get to that a little bit later on the significance of that date. But the purpose of the meeting was, like I said, to set the stage and tell people a little bit about what my vision for the company was and is going to be. So up until this point with the company, we do have a mission statement. We did have a vision statement, but I wasn't really a big fan of our previous vision statement. And so I felt like that was the opportunity for me to latch onto and make a slight change in our mentality as a company going forward. And so the new vision statement that I've set forth for the company is creating a wow experience for our team members, customers, and communities. Creating a wow experience for our team members, customers, and communities. And so then the question is, well, what's a wow experience? What does that look like? What's that feel like? And I guess the part that I would just share with you is that it really just, if you take a step back, it kind of goes like this. Everything that we do, we believe in creating a wow experience for our customers. Okay, we believe that this experience will lead to a long-term and successful partnership for many years to come. We create this experience by providing timely communication, a quality product shipped on time. We just happen to be a sign manufacturer. Okay. So that's the explanation for our customers on what we want that to look like from a wow experience for them. And some of it may be just so obvious that we take for granted, but the goal and the point is to provide the vision statement so people can rally around that and understand what we're all working for and working towards on a daily basis. How that might look for the team member. Everything we do, we believe in creating a wow experience for our team members. We believe this experience will lead to a long-term and successful partnership. We believe that by providing an environment where, we believe the way that we create these experiences is by providing a pathway towards growth and advancement through a safe and fun work environment. And we believe that this experience will lead to a waiting list to join our company. And we just happen to be a sign manufacturer. So trying to start with the why. Everybody knows what we do. Everybody knows how we do it, but not everybody knows why we do it. And so that's the key part. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. People don't come to work for what you do or what they will be doing. People come to work why they do what they do. Trying to instill that passion, trying to instill that vision of what they have to look forward to and join our community so that we're all working towards that. same mission and same goal.
I like that. I like that.
It's good stuff. Stu, you made me think of a quote that I use a lot of times in presentations that I think will probably fit the mold of your mission statement. And it's by a guy named Seth Godin. He's got a couple kind of like sales books and self-help books and stuff. But one of my favorite quotes of his is, surprise and differentiation make more impact than noise does. There's lots of people making signs, right?
Right.
Tons and tons. But when you can do something different, when you can surprise the client, when you can surprise your coworkers, your employees, the impact that's created versus just a normal, hey guys, come in, we're building some signs today, get them shipped, let's go. But doing something different, inspiring them, and changing the motivation, it creates a shift in the way that people process things, and it affects them versus dredging into work and just building signs every day. So I love the mission statement. And if you haven't checked out Seth Godin, I think a lot of what he talks about would really connect with what's going on in your head and, trying to lead and inspire your company.
Yeah, Joe, you touched on something that was part of our 220 meeting. Okay.
Cool.
So that surprise piece of it, and the fact that, we're coming in every day and we're making signs. So what I did is I invited one of our customers to come in to this meeting, a customer to Stein Sign Display, and obviously a customer, ultimately the end customer from the product that Esco built. And so I had this customer come in and talk a little bit about what it meant to see their sign installed the day that it went up on the building. And they got to experience, share that experience with the team. And it was really impactful for our production department in particular, because a lot of times, like you said, Joey, they have that mindset, okay, well, here's just another job packet and it's my turn to build the sign. Well, they got to hear directly from the customer about the joy and the sense of accomplishment and the pride that they felt when they saw that sign go up. And so I really tried to connect the dots for the production staff that every time you see a job packet come through, it's an opportunity to provide that wow experience for our customer and that sense of pride and accomplishment that they want to have with their own business. And don't just treat it as a check the box, it's time to make another sign. Treat it as an opportunity to really provide a wow experience by providing the best quality, by providing the best communication, by making sure that we ship this sign on time, doing everything that we can to make sure that end moment when that sign is installed goes perfectly to plan.
I like that. Stuart, one thing that you and I talked about earlier, and this goes into what you were saying. You were telling me how active you are inside the community, giving back to the community. I know you mentioned this story of a $20 bill.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very impactful. And if you could, I would love you to share that story to Joe and to our viewers of how you approached your new position as president and this $20 bill to your staff, because I thought that was really cool.
So the last part of the 220 meeting has to do with that. And that's the significance of the date. So 2/20/20. And how it worked is I gave every employee two $20 bills. The first $20 bill was for the employee. They could go out, buy themselves a steak, go to a movie, just do something fun, treat yourself, whatever. The second $20 bill was not for them. It was meant to pay it forward in some way, shape, or form. It was meant to live the vision, okay? We can come up with this vision statement of creating a wow experience for team members, customers, and communities, but unless we do something with it, unless we live the vision, it's just a phrase, okay? So I wanted to put some action behind that right on day one of rolling this out. And so I gave everybody the 220s, and they took these $20 bills, and their assignment was to go and bless someone else, do something to make someone else smile, do something to make someone's day brighter, and then just simply tell me about it, okay? Take the time to write me a 2-minute email and just explain the situation, what happened, and how you made a difference, and how it made you feel personally giving that $20 away. And there were some really, really neat stories. There was one story in particular that really touches my heart. There was a gal pumping some gas. She had a small child in her arms. She went in to go pay for the gas, and she was trying to come up with $5 and change just to pay for the gas. Well, our team member went over there, paid for the $5, went back out to the car, put in another $15, and this gal was just ecstatic, and she just said, "Thank you so much. I was just trying to get home." And
Unreal.
a $20 bill made all the difference in the world for this gal. We had another. We've had a couple of employees struggling with some cancer right now, and several employees grouped their money. Some of the employees actually gave the $40 in addition to just the 20 for someone else, but they gave their money to some of these employees internally that are struggling with cancer, just for helping them make ends meet. And we had another situation where there were 4 people that took their $20 bills, so $80, and they donated it towards a breast cancer awareness raffle.
Unreal.
Well, lo and behold, they actually ended up winning the raffle for $1,300.
No way.
Wow.
They took the $1,300 and then just put it right back into the organization. So, I mean, we made a big difference with 100 people making a choice with that $20 bill, deciding what they wanted to do, and it's just been part of our culture shift right from 2020, and living the vision is what we've called it.
And that's wow factor. That's wow factor.
That is a wow factor.
It's incredible positive impact. It's something that tends to be a natural reaction when you give people the opportunity, right? There's a lot of negative in this world, but when you can be a lamppost of inspiration and inject positivity, it's amazing what can happen. Even at something, at an individual, I'm sure it was, an investment on your part for every single employee, but for those individual employees, it was a small thing that it started with, and it turned into a lot more, which was your exact intention, which is an absolute beautiful outcome. To kind of connect a little more with, you stepping into the lead executive position at the business, was there any strategies other than that one that you took to earn the respect and kind of really fill in that role, operationalize? I know sometimes with those transitions, there's, Billy's been working for your dad, Mark, for 20 years. And then, Mark's son comes in and those kind of things. Was there any specific things you did or strategies? That's a really good one, actually, that you already had done. But is there anything else that you had done that would be good advice for other young people in the industry that might be, whether they're entering in, family wise or just an executive position in general that they've gotten into?
Yeah. Overall, the transition has gone pretty smoothly, honestly. And I attribute a lot of that to Mark and his forward thinking on how we could make that 2-4-20 transition as smooth as possible, to basically have one guy coming in and one guy leaving and one guy coming in, and make that as smooth as possible. And one of the things that we were intentional about was having joint meetings, Mark, myself, and then some of the senior leaders for several months, 6 months to a year, in fact. That way, I was in the loop on some of the critical issues that were going on behind the scenes and that we were actively trying to address day in, day out. That definitely helped, because, again, come 2-4-20, I was basically able to keep that conversation going with some of those topics or issues that we had challenges with, and really just keep the ball rolling.
I like that. One thing I wanted to touch upon, I wanted to bring this up before, because I actually find this kind of funny. I know you brought up the music, and I know Joe on the side, also a big fan of music. And it seems like a lot of guests that we've been having on the show, and a lot of people I'm talking to, have some type of creative background, whether it's music, whether it's art. There's always some type of creativity. And I don't think it's something that we give ourselves enough credit for in the sign industry. Is we're all artists. And that's what I'm finding, is that we all have an artist background to what we do. And essentially that speaks volumes in the work that we do, because in the urban planning, in our communities, we're essentially designing the community. We're updating the communities, and we're updating storefronts, which are visual things that people see on a time-to-time basis. So I personally think it was really cool you brought up that you were in the music, and it seems that every time we get a guest, they have some type of artistic background, which again goes back to your whole thing of the wow factor. Art is always a wow factor, whether it's a music or it's a portrait that's been painted. There's always a wow factor, and that's something in the sign industry that we offer to customers, is that wow factor through the delivering of a sign. We take a blank canvas, which would be a brick building. All of a sudden, we're taking a customer's vision. We manufacture it, we put it on the wall, and it's not just a sign, it's a piece of art. And it gives off that wow factor. So I think it was cool how you did the $20 challenge. You're going out in the community. You're getting people to engage in community members, while keeping in with the whole wow factor of what we do for a living. So I think that's really inspiring. I think that was really cool, Stuart.
Yeah, thanks.
Always a fan of talking music, man. I love it. We won't this time.
One day we're going to do a podcast all on music. I swear. We'll find a guy in the sign industry that was a former rock star turned sign guy, and we're going to get him on the podcast.
You know,
what quantifies a rock star?
Well, I mean, you were a rock star at one point, so we could do it to you if you want me to interview you, Joe.
It'll be a fun interview, but like rock star, I think you have to be able to live off of the income of the creation of the music to qualify as a rock star, right?
We'll do some research. There's got to be somebody.
You were getting ready to say something, Stu. Go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, from a music standpoint, I actually owe my mom quite a bit of credit for my musical background. She made me take piano lessons back when I was in second grade, and I just hated it. I wanted to be done with it immediately. But she said, "Look, if you can stick with your piano lessons until you make it through sixth grade, I'll let you quit." Well, 4 years later, by that time, I was starting to get a little bit better and better, and so kept going through high school, and now here I am. Still able to play the piano to this day, and it's a fun skill, and it's a nice release, and it's a fun way to express some creative talents on the piano too.
Love that.
All right. Well, I think we covered all the topics we wanted to cover today. Stu, was there anything else you wanted to say in closing or share with the community before we get going?
No, nothing in particular other than just thanks for having me on the show. I feel honored and privileged to have been able to take part in this. It's been a great experience for me, and hopefully fast forward a year from now, we'll have a great story to share if we did a recap story of what happened in 2020.
Absolutely.
Stuart, how could we reach you? To all the people out there, all of our fans, subscribers, how could they get in contact with you, or give us the website, give us some type of info?
Yeah, you got it. Well, we're pretty active on social media. We've got an Instagram account, we've got Twitter, Facebook, and of course the website, escomanufacturing.com. You can reach out to me personally at stein@escomfg.com. I think that they're posting that email address. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'd be happy to talk through any questions that you may have on any of the comments that I shared today, or just talk business, or talk music, or golf.
Love it.
That's good stuff. Well, hey, listen, Stu, we really appreciate you making the time. I know I really appreciated, the inspirational message of, stepping into a leadership role as a young person, especially in an industry like what we do. And of course, with the side gig of it being a family-owned business, I'm sure that's going to go a long way with the people we connect with in the community. So great advice. And I really appreciate you making the time. So thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Stuart, as always, many blessings to you. Like Joe said, best of luck on this endeavor. It's honestly really cool that you find yourself in this position today. So it's an honor to you and to the work you've been putting into the industry. So thank you. And thank you for coming on the show today. Awesome.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Friday.
Yes, indeed.
How about that? I like those type of stories. Those are feel-good stories. I know we're all in positions where we're all young professionals in this industry, and when you get to see a guy like Stu working his way up the corporate ladder to now being a president of a major sign manufacturer, I think that's really cool, man. I think that's really cool.
There's a lot of pressure involved in that equation,
Oof.
and
Oof.
I think that a lot of the tendency is to try and play it cool, and be relaxed and those kind of equations, and try to fill the void without causing any waves at all. And waves can be negative or positive, and I think that Stu created a clear message of positivity when he stepped into that role. So I think that's the only thought process that I would view as profitable and that would make sense. So it was really nice to hear it happening real life. And I hope that others would take it to heart as well. But hey, you know what? I didn't mean to jump into that because I was actually thinking about something else. I haven't given you a nickname yet, right?
So
I figured
give me one.
No, well, it's not going to be crazy. But it popped into me, and we're going to call you Matty Cakes from now on. How does that sound?
Matty Cakes? Matty Cakes? Like patty cakes, but Matty Cakes?
Exactly.
Hey, Joe, if it worked, it works. Hey, any nickname I get from a guy like you, I'm going to take it as an honor. So thank you. I appreciate that. Matty Cakes it is. Matty Cakes it is. I like that.
All right, man. Well, let's wrap this thing up.
It's Friday morning. I got my coffee. I know Joe's got his coffee. We just finished episode 6. I think Stuart was an unreal guest. He left us with the wow factor. A lot of inspiring things to say. As usual, I mean, anytime we get an ISA Elite class member, it's a testament to the people that were in the program and graduated that program. These people are just successful people in this sign industry, and I'm so honored by Yorston and by Joe and by everybody else that we've come up with this platform to showcase these people, and I just think it's unreal.
Good stuff. Great stuff. All right, guys, this is it for Rising Signs today. As always, I'm Joe, and this guy is
Matthew.
Thank you for joining us for Rising Signs.
Have a positive Friday, folks. Have a positive Friday. Give me that coffee cup, Joe.